How about some good news, and then overshadowed immediately by the most selfish Olympian currently at the Tokyo Olympics? U.S. gymnast Jade Carey, yay, wins gold as Simone Biles announces she'll compete in one event, even though she made a big deal about not competing in one event and then tried to overshadow the rest of her team, and then said that, oh yeah, I'm going to pull out for the rest of the event. And then the medal started to pile up in the gymnasts for the U.S. females team, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, my twisties are gone. Imagine that. Good thing it was only one of those temporary conditions that I didn't claim any sort of ownership over, and it was just the media helping me out. Don't worry about any of that stuff. I'm ready to compete now. It'll be interesting to see that performance there, but let's give Jade her props because she showed up to compete and she fucking beat the brakes off some kids. U.S. Jade Carey won gold for the floor gymnastics final at the 2020 Olympics, taking place on August 2nd, 2021, shortly after Simone Biles announced that she would compete in an event after dropping out of several others. Imagine that. Just couldn't wait to get some more flashbulbs, and she just wants a story written about her fucking hero's journey at this point. What just a selfish bitch. It's like, oh, I faced so much adversity and I got all those cameras on me at all times while I'm sitting in the stands, and oh, I've been reading all of those very touching letters that the mean people have been out there attacking me, but I'm gonna come back and I'm really gonna show them in one of my better events. So again, you probably got somebody's hope up, and then all of a sudden that person who was the alternate, we don't know who that is, at least I don't right now, they were going to be on the team, they were probably getting ready for the event, and then all of a sudden, Simone decides that she wants to descend down the golden staircase, and she wants to grace us all with her presence, so we better make way for the queen. Selfish. Carey, 21, of Arizona. Nice. Edged Italy's Vanessa Ferrari. That is the most fucking WAP name I've ever read. And Japan's Mai Murakami. Apply the same rhetoric, just, the slur. For the first ever Olympic medal, Carey rebounded from a disastrous final vault the day prior. Wow, much unlike Simone Biles. So the Goodman, Jade Carey, faced adversity to begin with. She had a really shitty vault, and then she still won gold afterwards. Huh. I wonder who's going to get the headlines by the end of the Olympics. Just wondering. Coming back from a day like yesterday, I'm really proud of myself for being able to put that behind me and finish with probably the best floor routine I've ever done in my life. Congratulations. Legitimately. No criticism here. You did great, okay? You could have let it hang over your head like a black cloud, but you just persevered and you succeeded at the absolute highest level. Team USA has medaled in every women's event so far, but finished with silver in the all-around team final after Queen Biles decided to throw her temper tantrum. Biles, 24, of Ohio. I don't care what event is she going to hop in, but Biles plans to compete in the balance beam final on August 3rd, according to USA Gymnastics. Why are they entertaining this, okay? If she thought that she was not safe to do any floor routines, okay, or participate in the all-around event, why does she all of a sudden think that now she's in the right frame of mind? I thought there was something about not having medication or something, but all of a sudden, the only place that I actually heard that criticism levied was on stupid Joe Rogan, okay? He's pretending to, I don't know anything. The dude's an empty head. I've been criticizing him since the onset of my channel, so I like him for certain things, but more often than not, he's just kind of an airhead. But again, if she was putting herself in danger, if she didn't think that she could compete, why is it seeing the success of your teammates and then all of a sudden you want in on some of this action? Questions. But I do hope she fails. Fails just like the women's national team. Oh, the women's soccer team. Just did the pre-record of them yesterday, specifically Rapinoe. And this was supposed to be the quarterfinal. I guess it would have been semifinal game, rather. They can still win the bronze, but they lost to Canada. That doesn't seem like, okay, in any other setting outside of like fucking hockey or whatever, or curling maybe, that's not so much of a big upset, okay? Because on the world stage, the Canadian women's team, for one, far outshadows the men's team at any level. But also, the Canadian women's team is quite good. They are one of the higher ranked teams that are out there. So this isn't too much of an upset, even though they're trying to claim it's an upset. But that would be like if the Dodgers right now played a series against the Giants and The Dodgers ended up taking 2 out of 3. They're lower in the standings, but it's not really an upset. U.S. women's soccer team loses to Canada, will play for bronze. Yeah, and then Canada's going on to the gold medal play and be assured a medal in the coming days, and then the United States are going to have to get off their knees long enough, and that's not a blowjob joke or anything. They're just activists before athletes, and then fucking sack up in order to just fucking maintain a little bit of dignity, whatever shred is left. But it's weird, right? Don't have this pulled up either, but you can check this. For the 7th year in a row, there's still a major tournament going on in the world of soccer as well. The CONCACAF is going on, and the men's like fucking C and D team, some kind of a conglomeration of the people who aren't good enough to have made the Olympics or really do anything or be healthy enough to continue to compete for an entire tournament. They just won the 7th straight CONCACAF, okay? So they weren't kneeling. They weren't making it all about themselves. And the women's national team, who was the favorite going into this, might win a bronze. See what happens when you don't prioritize your, the most important reason why you're at an athletic endeavor? Canada defeated the U.S. women's national soccer team 1-0 in the Tokyo Olympics semifinals on August 2nd, meaning the pre-tournament favorites will miss out on a chance to even play for the gold medal. God bless. God bless. It's the 2nd straight Olympics. The U.S. team has failed to reach the gold medal game. Jessie Fleming scored on a penalty kick for Canada in the 74th minute, lifting the team to a hard-fought victory against the United States. The loss was the first by the 4-time Olympic champion U.S. squad to Canada since 2001. Oh, you love to see it. You love to see it. It's not often I like to champion my Canadian heritage, but in this specific instance, and I'll invite you all to just partake in this one because we don't like the women's soccer team, the United States one. So if you guys would like to be honorary Canadians for a moment, take a boo. Oh my God, snapping a 36-game unbeaten streak against the North American rivals. Wow. Like, okay, they lost their big star and probably the biggest name, at least Canadian women's soccer. Like, I know that's probably a fucking pool of fans that can fit inside my hand, but Christine Sinclair is somewhat of a national treasure up here, okay? Sure, she has the sex appeal of your 70-year-old diabetic aunt, but she was one hell of a soccer player. And she aged out, and her leadership is gone, and the team has just kept stride and, in fact, succeeded where it was not really thought possible. It's been a long time coming to beat those guys, said Fleming, who also is a midfielder for Chelsea, female Chelsea. Not Clinton either. We want to come away with gold now, but it is really special for us to put our flag on the map. God, yay. You know what? They're happy that they're at the Olympics, and it's weird that they aren't making it all about themselves. They're making it all about the country that they're representing. You'll see a quick shift in that as soon as we start to take some different interviews from the other side of the pitch. I think this is my first loss ever to Canada, said Megan Rapinoe, making it all about herself. God, she's just the gift that keeps on giving. A forward, not just any forward, the purple-haired activist from the U.S. national team. It sucks not to be able to compete for a gold medal, which what we wanted. Not a great performance either. That's the most frustrating part. Okay, we all wanted to compete for a gold medal, but we suck. Okay, it's we suck, and this is the first loss I've ever had to Canada. So she's trying to exclude herself from the rest of the team. Why is she still there? Okay, if she's ever on another women's national team, you guys really got to reassess who the fuck is making the call on the roster decisions. U.S. team will now play for bronze on August 5th against Australia. I hope they lose. They probably shouldn't. Which lost its semifinal game to Sweden. Oh, cool! So the two teams that beat the United States are going to face off for the gold medal. It's poetic justice. This match for gold will be played on August 6th at the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo, where Canada will face Sweden, which beat Australia 1-0. Oh, both similar. Oh, my God. And the goals were scored just about to the minute. 47 for Canada and 46. I guess Australia's get there a little bit quicker. Be something to do with time zones. After a scoreless first half, a big effort on a goal finally arrived in the 65th minute after curling shot from the U.S. forward Carly Lloyd was tipped over the crossbar by Canadian goalkeeper Stephanie Labby. I don't know what the rest of this stuff is, but who really cares? And I really hope that Australia kicks the United States team's ass. Let's do some more activism, shall we? Gwen Berry, you remember her. She's the one pictured right there who, once again, took home third at the Oregon, what was that, the US Olympic primaries. I think that's the general idea. I'm not too sure if that's a specific title or not. We'll probably get to it in a minute. But she's the hammer thrower who got third and then had a t-shirt over her head and wouldn't stand and look at the flag and made it once again all about herself, because a few years ago she was posting some spicy memes, but now all of a sudden it pays to be an activist. You don't necessarily have to be that good. You just have to make a name for yourself, and that's what she's doing here. I don't know why she got to the Olympics if she hates the country that she's there to represent so much, but it's all about pushing her brand, because she would like to sign one of those Colin Kaepernick advertisement deals, because hey, if a man can get $100 million and squeeze it out of Nike for not being a very good athlete, she might be able to place fourth, or hey, maybe even get a bronze and spin it off into, what would that be, 73 million, if that's what we're working on, because my gender pay gap, right? I'll represent the oppressed people. Gwen Berry promises to protest on medal stands if she wins. If she wins. Remember, she got third in the US only trial, and you're going to be having those big old Eastern Bloc women just fucking hucking that ball and chain, so wish you luck. U.S. Olympic hammer thrower Gwen Berry now says that she will protest against the United States on the medal stand to represent the oppressed peoples if she medals this week. I doubt it. I want to know what the odds are, but at the same time, I already know the odds of her getting on the podium pretty fucking slim. Berry raised eyebrows by refusing to stand at attention for the national anthem during the U.S. Olympics trials. Yeah, that's what they were called. In June, when she won the bronze medal in the hammer throw, but until the weekend, Berry would not say if she intended to mount, and why would anybody pay her attention? Well, she's going to, and she's also going to lose, because that's what happens. Just take a look at the women's soccer team. They got fucking woke. They ended up going home, potentially, even though it's unlikely, empty fucking handed. You, on the other hand, you ain't got a fucking hope in hell, because I've seen some of those Ukrainian women throwing at some of these events, and they're fairly prolific. Speaking of women, remember that first openly I can't believe that's a statement, openly transgendered weightlifter, yes, Laurel Hubbard of New Zealand, who knocked a young Samoan girl off of the team. Not Samoan, Aboriginal. Samoa's a different place, my mistake. Knocked her off the team because this 35-year-old vanity project needed to go out there and needed to make headlines. She did her lift today. She failed on the third attempt, so guess maybe she's been upping the dose of estrogen because just couldn't fucking jerk it over her head. Something that she's probably done a fair amount of times, but really just couldn't get it up. And now we finally have an admission from the IOC that says transgender athlete policy is outdated and plans to change it after the Olympics. After they've made all their headlines, they broke all of their ground. They had very questionable procedures going into this, but let's take a look. The International Olympic Committee officials said the guidelines governing the participation of transgender women in Olympic sports are outdated, and they plan to announce a new policy after the Tokyo Games. Statement came as Laurel Hubbard, the New Zealand weightlifter set to compete in the Tokyo Olympics as the first transgender athlete in the history of the Games, after she met several eligibility requirements by having lower than like 3 times the normal level of testosterone in a biological woman's body for less than 12 months. If she met those criteria, then she was allowed to compete, but don't mind those first 35 years. None of that matters, though. And then after you complete all the testing procedures, feel free to, continue to go slightly balder. Hubbard lifts in the 87 plus, the super heavyweight division, is allowed to compete alongside women under the guidelines in 2015 by the IOC and adopted the International Weightlifting Federation. Many experts and policymakers have come to the conclusion that those rules were no longer fully supported by science in recent years. What? And experts who spoke with Yahoo News identified the 2 main shortcomings: that testosterone-related rules were too lenient. No shit. And that one set of guidelines should not apply to dozens of different sports. Strength, speed, height, physical contact, any of the ones that, take place at the Olympics. Something like that. The outlet reports that the current guidelines require a transgender woman to undergo hormone therapy and suppress her testosterone below 10 nanomoles per liter for at least 12 months prior to her first competition. God bless. Really fucking stringent rules. Two scientists, who've consulted with the IOC said that based on recent evidence, how long have people been around for? Several hundred years? Anyway, hundreds of thousands of years. I don't believe in a young earth because I'm educated. They believe the threshold to be too high and was set based on an old data and not on the most sophisticated ways of measuring testosterone. Yeah, by counting beard hairs, said Miriam Gannell. Sexy. A Yale endocrinologist who has studied the topic and consulted with the IOC for 2 decades. Yeah, imagine that. They were just hoping that they could get the headlines to begin with, and then all of a sudden, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and start looking at these different procedures because, I don't know, we allowed them in to begin with, and then everybody started to cause a fuss, so I have to start making some revisions. They got their headlines they want, okay, and at least that fucking abomination just didn't crush any women when she fucking flipped that bar over her head. I'm sorry. Olympic Committee looking into gesture American made on podium. Yeah, unfortunately, we have another activist. Don't know how to critique this person without running afoul of every hate speech policy on every single platform. So I'll just say this charming young woman, Raven Saunders, who took up my discipline of shot put, won a silver medal, and threw up an X because, I don't know, maybe she's a 90s kid and was a big DX mark. Like, what are we doing? But yeah, let's see. The Olympic Committee looking into gesture American made on the podium. The International Olympic Committee is reviewing a gesture a Team USA silver medalist made on the podium, which could violate rules the panel announced in April. Yeah, but they were going to be allowing different social justice messaging. So this one runs afoul. Why? Because it's not like specifically linked to any notable group that hasn't already lined your pockets. IOC, like, what are we doing here? Patrice O'Neill. Raven Saunders made an X above her head because she was telling everybody to suck it above her head on Sunday in Tokyo while on the podium after winning the silver medal in shot put. Where'd she put it? Saunders told the Associated Press that she made the symbol because it's the intersection of where all people go to die at my hands. Of people who are oppressed meat? What? There's probably a lot of meat that goes between those hands, but to be honest, that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen outside of your haircut. How about we move on to something a little bit less perplexing? A Belarusian sprinter says she was taken to the airport against her wishes after criticizing coaches. Yeah, because she was supposed to be going back to Minsk as in accordance with that fucking totalitarian government that they have there. She was speaking bad against the regime, comrades, so then she was going to get taken back for, I don't know, nice long stay at a very cold place. I'm not going to be able to pronounce these names, but I'm going to give it a try. Belarusian Olympic sprinter Kristina Souflaki told Reuters that she was taken to the airport in Tokyo against her will after she publicly criticized her national team's coaches. Taziki was expected to compete in the women's 200 event and the 4x400 relay before she was told to pack and was escorted to the airport to board a flight to Siberia. To Belarus on Sunday. Wow, Samana Saka, sure. Then reportedly sought out airport police at Tokyo's Hyundai Airport in an attempt to avoid boarding the flight. She knew what was up, and yeah, I think she did 1000% the correct thing. Sprinter said she won't return to Belarus and that she was removed from the team due to the fact that I spoke on my Instagram about the negligence of our coaches. Speak against one facet against of the party and you speak against the entire party. That's what happens in these type of lingering remnants of the USSR. Like one of the last strongholds, okay? They're far more totalitarian than the big boogeyman Vladimir Putin. Lukashenko? Is that who's in charge there? Did a little bio on him a couple of weeks ago. He's a bad dude with bad connections. Kristina probably made the right decision here. Some of our girls did not fly here to compete in the 4x400 relay because they didn't have enough doping tests. Samana Sukaya. That sounds dialectically correct. And the coach added me to the relay without my knowledge. I spoke about this publicly. The head coach came over to me and said, There had been an order from above to remove me. This is the type of government the crazy activists might not know that they want, but this is what they would get. Belarusian Olympic Committee said in a statement that coaches chose to withdraw Kristina from Tokyo on doctor's advice regarding her emotional, physical, and psychological state. Yes, questioning the government. Reuters also reported that the source of the Belarusian Sports Solidarity Foundation, that's not a creepy name, said Sumansaka is planning to request asylum in Germany or Austria on Monday. I feel bad for her parents. Oh, I would if they weren't already dead. That's a joke, I don't know. And if they're actually like currently dying or anything, I feel bad for them. But that's the old Eastern Bloc for you. But I guess that's kind of an update on the Olympics. Some more medals were handed out, and Godspeed and great performance to Jade Carey. You did a great job. You overcame adversity, and unfortunately it was overshadowed by the most selfish athlete, not named LeBron James. Now we got some weird censorship stuff that's happening next, so if you'd like to tune in for that, and give me a few minutes, I'll get it up for you. Not like that. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.